Green, Jolly Green, this is Sandy 6. Roger, Jolly's, where are you at? Max, you're going to have to make this quick because 405 is about 1,600 pounds of gas total.
I guess both survivors are in pretty bad shape.
Jolly, this is Sandy 6 again. What's the deal there now?
He's probably going right back at it.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever have any close calls where you thought you were going to wind up having to bail out?
One time, we were out of, it was an afternoon orbit over Steel Tiger. Got all the way down to the southern end, which is near the Baldwin Plateau, you know, and I noticed the transmission oil pressure fluctuated a little bit, you know. So I kind of kept my eye on it a little bit. After several more minutes, it fluctuated again, you know. That's unusual, you know, so then I noticed every time it fluctuated, it would drop a PSI or so. So I told the aircraft commander, I said, we better head back. I said, our gearbox transmission oil pressure is fluctuating. And so, you know, we turned around and called King and told him what our issue was. And he said, our transmission oil pressure is dropping, you know, so we had to stay above 10,000, man. I normally didn't fly with my parachute on, but when I saw that gearbox fluctuating, I put my parachute on, and I kept an eye on and like I said, pressure kept dropping. I kept watching the temperature, and the gearbox oil temperature was going up, and that's a classic sign of a gearbox failure. And so if I saw the torque start going up, which meant that it was taking more power to drive that rotor system because the gearbox was freezing up, I was getting ready to bail out if that happened, you know. And we finally got across the river and we started a descent, you know, and we made a running landing. Just put it on the wheels on the runway and taxied off of the first taxiway, and our pressure was like 5 PSI left. The temperature was way up there, you know, that gearbox failure, you know. But yeah, I was prepared to bail out then if the gearbox, because once that gearbox fails up, your rotor starts slowing, then you stall out and aircraft goes out, you know, you fall like a rock. You know, you can't even auto-rotate. You know, so, but that was the only time. You know, so yeah, you had to be prepared for everything, you know. And they made a movie of one of the F-105 pilots being shot down over there, and made a movie of the rescue mission. That was it. And the film crew was there in June. And at noon, they went to lunch, and all their film gear and the cameras and all that were laying out there in the front patio of the alert building, and I'm way in the back across the road at the mess hall. I'm having my noon meal. You know? Well, they had a PA system over there, and if you scrambled, they'd say scramble the North Crew. That's all they said, and I just had sat down and got ready to eat. They said scramble the North Crew. Man, I jumped up and crossed the road into the run into the south end of the our alert building there, run all the way through, and I'm running full blast, and I'm through the door, and right there in front of me is all this camera equipment. You know, and I leaped over it and landed on it. There's about 4 steps there going down there, all their gears, and I just leaped over that and took off, running over to the helicopter, and the pilot and the co-pilot, they were getting the information on the what happened, and so I got on the helicopter. I started the APU up and got the generators on the line so that when they got there and strapped in, we were ready to crank engines, you know. So we were airborne within 5 minutes, and we were headed north. And our Highbird, there was a major that said, he said, I got a C model here. And my aircraft commander said, we got a C model too. So I'm low bird, so we were going to be the first to go in. And anyway, we went up. It was on the PDJ. The OV-10 had gone down, and we could hear what was going on. Some A-1s got hit, and Air America tried 2 helicopters to go in there, and they both got shot out. And so we figured, well, we're going to have a contested pickup here. So the A-1s worked the area over, and we saw where it was going on, where they were laying the strikes in, and this OV-10 pilot, he landed on right at the very top of a ridge line. There was a east-west ridge line, and then off of that ridge line was 1, 2, 3, 4 ridge lines going south. He was on the third one at the about a 4,000 foot level above sea level. And so when they cleared us in, what they did is they laid some smoke between the third and the fourth ridge line, and then we came in from the east, passed over the first and second ridge line, got to the third ridge line. He did a hard left turn, and I looked out, and there he was. He was about 100 feet below us. And I already had the hoist going down, and I ran the hoist down to him, and he was in this tall elephant grass. I mean, it was just, there were no trees, just this real thick elephant grass, and so he finally got him strapped in, and I started bringing him up, and I heard number one minigun going off, while I'm working the hoist, and my number one PJ, he saw the flashes from the second ridge line, and so he fired his minigun over at where that ground fire was coming from, and as I was bringing the hoist up, the autopilot had one of the amplifiers failed, and it caused the helicopter. It was a roll amplifier, so the helicopter went like this until they got it stopped. Well, when that happens, the hoist starts doing this, and if you're bringing the hoist up while it's doing this, the pendulum action increases as you're bringing them up. So I had to stop the hoist, and when he went this way, I had to push the opposite way. When he went this way, I had to pull.
So you had to null it out.
I got it dampened out, and I finally brought him up, and then I got him on board, and I put my minigun in place, and we had dumped our nose, and we were going like this, banking in a descending bank left turn, and I was going to hose this ridge line down over here, and all of a sudden my gun jammed. My gun just stopped. And when you release the trigger, the minigun empties itself. It spits out any live rounds into the. Well, this one here just stopped dead, no matter. And that minigun had no sooner stopped, and an A1 filled up my doorway with his wingspan. Because we were like this, and he came across like this, and he let go a salvo of rockets, and if that gun wouldn't have jammed at that split second, he was there just as soon as the gun stopped, and
you'd have filled him up.
Oh yeah, I would just, because he was just flown right through my line of fire, and I thought about that a lot, and I says,
I looked over yonder, and what did I see? A big green giant coming after me. He was born one morning in the Biscayne Plain, reared in the valley so little and green, 50 feet tall till above the trees. A big, big giant called the Jolly Green. He could cover a mile in a single stride, towering high in all of his pride. He came swiftly through the jungle of steam to answer the call for the Jolly Green. He would answer a call during day or night, never fearing the enemy's might. Through shell and fire, he'd wade right through to complete the task he was asked to do.